Peter Dinklage, a name that today is associated with brilliance, conviction, and one of the most iconic performances in television history. But his path to success was far from easy, and his rise to fame was anything but ordinary. Before the awards, before the global recognition, before Tyrion Lannister became a household name across the world, there was a young man from New Jersey who dared to believe in himself, even when the world didn't. This is the story of Peter Dinklage, the actor who refused to be defined by limitations, and who turned adversity into power, silence into voice, and struggle into triumph. Peter Hayden Dinklage was born on June 11, 1969, in Morristown, New Jersey, into a warm, loving, middle-class family. His father, John, was an insurance salesman. His mother, Diane, taught music in elementary schools. His childhood home was filled with creativity, laughter, and imagination. But life for Peter began with a challenge he would carry forever. He was born with achondroplasia, a common form of dwarfism. While his family accepted him without hesitation, the outside world wasn't so compassionate. As a child, Peter was charismatic, funny, and expressive, but he quickly learned how others viewed him. The stares, the whispers, the mockery, the strange questions from strangers. It all left a mark. In interviews, Peter has recalled how difficult school could be. Kids can be cruel, and he faced teasing regularly. But instead of folding under the pressure, he learned to sharpen his wit, to defend himself verbally, and to build an inner strength that would later fuel his performances on stage and screen. As he grew older, Peter studied the way people behaved, how they reacted to him, how they assumed things about him before he even spoke. He learned to navigate the world with both humor and resilience, two tools that would carry him far. It was in middle school that Peter discovered something life-changing: acting. During a school play, he realized that on stage, everything felt different. The lights were bright, the audience silent, and the world finally paid attention to who he was, not what he looked like. He loved the transformation, the power of storytelling, the chance to become someone else. Acting gave him confidence, and more importantly, purpose. He carried this passion into high school, where he continued performing in plays and developing a deep love for dramatic arts. And even though he knew the acting world wasn't built for people like him, he held onto a dream that was bigger than the obstacles in front of him. Peter attended Bennington College, a place known for nurturing artists, writers, and performers. It was here that he formed lifelong friendships, learned discipline, and honed his craft with intense focus. Bennington wasn't about becoming famous, it was about becoming excellent. Peter immersed himself in theater, performing in numerous student productions. His talent was undeniable. He had a raw power, a sharp emotional intelligence, and a presence that commanded the stage. He also learned something else. He would not accept roles that belittled him. Hollywood had a long history of offering demeaning parts to actors with dwarfism, jokey side characters, fantasy creatures, roles built on mockery. Peter made a bold decision early in his career. He would not do those roles. He would rather fail as himself than succeed as a stereotype, and that choice would shape his entire future. After graduating, Peter moved to New York City with a loftier dream than his bank account could support. He worked odd jobs, including cold calling customers and working at a data processing company, all to scrape by while pursuing acting. And he struggled, really struggled. He and his friends lived in a shared apartment that was barely safe. The heat broke often. Rats were not uncommon. They were young artists trying to survive in a city that didn't care who they were or what they wanted. Auditions came slowly, too slowly, and when they did come, the roles were often insulting. But Peter refused to give in. He rejected parts other actors would have taken out of desperation. He said no to roles that mocked people like him, and because of that integrity, he couldn't pay rent. He couldn't buy new clothes. He often didn't know where the next paycheck would come from, but he kept going, because the alternative, giving up his dignity, was a cost he refused to pay. After years of struggle, small roles, and near invisible paychecks, everything changed in 2003. Peter landed the lead role in The Station Agent. It was a quiet, emotional film about a man who seeks solitude but finds unexpected connection and meaning. The script wasn't written for someone with dwarfism, it was written for a human being with depth, vulnerability, and spirit. Peter's performance was extraordinary. Critics praised him. Audiences adored him for the first time. Hollywood looked at Peter Dinklage and saw more than a physical difference. They saw an actor with immense talent. Awards buzz grew. Indie film festivals honored him, and suddenly, doors began to open that had long been sealed shut. This was his first real turning point. But the world had no idea what was coming next. After The Station Agent, Peter appeared in several films and TV shows. Elf, Find Me Guilty, Death at a Funeral, Nip, Tuck, each performance showing more range, more confidence, more mastery. He wasn't taking just any role, he was building a career with integrity and intention. Then came a phone call that would change his life forever. HBO was adapting a massive fantasy series called Game of Thrones. The character Tyrion Lannister required an actor who was sharp, funny, intelligent, vulnerable, and undeniably charismatic. The showrunners had only one name in mind, Peter Dinklage. When Game of Thrones premiered in 2011, it immediately became a global phenomenon. At the center of it all was Peter, delivering one of the most compelling performances television had ever seen. Tyrion Lannister was witty, flawed, brilliant, broken, and deeply human. Peter gave him life, and the world took notice. He won 4 Emmy Awards, 1 Golden Globe, countless nominations, and beyond awards, he earned something far more meaningful: respect. Millions of viewers connected with Tyrion because of Peter's honesty. His portrayal was rooted not in fantasy but in truth. Tyrion's pain was real. His humor was sharp. His resilience felt deeply personal. Peter became the heart of the series. His speeches became iconic. His emotional scenes became unforgettable. He wasn't just acting, he was redefining what was possible. While his career soared, Peter used his platform for something greater: representation. He spoke openly about the stereotypes actors with dwarfism faced, and still face. He pointed out how often they are forced into humiliating roles, costumes, or jokes that diminish their humanity. And Peter challenged the industry, constantly pushing for better stories, better characters, and better opportunities for people who looked like him. He didn't just break barriers, he smashed them. Despite international fame, Peter Dinklage lives a remarkably private life. He married Erica Schmidt, a respected theater director, and together they built a quiet, stable family away from cameras and noise. He is an advocate for animal rights, environmental causes, representation in media, humane treatment of actors with disabilities. Peter doesn't seek attention, he seeks impact. Peter Dinklage's story is not one of luck. It is a story of conviction, integrity, strength, and relentless courage. He proved that you can stay true to yourself in an industry that constantly pressures you to compromise, that you can rise above stereotypes, above ridicule, above limitations. That greatness is not measured by height, appearance, or expectations, but by character, talent, and heart. Today, Peter stands as one of the most respected actors of his generation, not because he played a famous character, but because he played himself, on and off the screen, with honesty and dignity. Peter Dinklage's life is a reminder that success is not instant, respect must be earned, and dreams demand courage. His journey shows that even when the world underestimates you, you can rewrite your story. One choice, one struggle, one triumph at a time. Peter Dinklage didn't just become a star, he became a symbol of what's possible when you refuse to let the world define you, and his legacy will continue to inspire generations.